Hey, this is Henry Rotten.
Hey, this is Marcus Interfonte.
It's Brad fucking Rush.
All right, this is Big Sexy Venom here.
This is Killer K, and you're listening to the GBYWN podcast. Get ghetto.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, Rad Hazard, your host for the GBYWN podcast. And on this episode, we're going to start a brand new trilogy, folks. A trilogy of interviews with none other than the current reigning and defending Global Backyard Wrestling Nation World Tag Team Champion and United States Champion, the Russ. And let me tell you, the Russ, as animated as he is in the ring, even more animated after you get a few drinks in him, and he's talking about whatever he wants to talk about as far as his career and shooting on people and all the terrible shit he had to do and had to go through in the first few years of his backyard wrestling career. You're going to have a lot of fun listening to this. And remember, this man was the tag team partner of Alex Cross, and he's going to bring that up quite a bit. Let me tell you right now. First off, I'd like to say welcome back to the show, and you're here for another unedited edition of my opening promo, opening segment for the show, whatever you want to call it, where I'll probably mess up and screw up and keep going. Some people were saying, hey, you said last week, see, I'm already screwing up. Last episode, you were going to have an uncensored episode, uncut. But the interview was cut here and there, but I'm talking about when I talk. When I talk here, I'm currently in the GBYWN sound studio that is my 1991 Ford Mustang, GT by the way. So when I talk to you, it's raw, it's whatever I say, and the spur of the moment from me to you here on the GBYWN podcast. But before we get to that incredible interview. You're going to love that. I cannot stress that enough. Let's talk about what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. I got to go to 203 BYW WrestleLenium 7. And I was so excited. I love Connecticut. I love the 203 BYW group. I love everybody there. They're awesome. They are exactly what backyard wrestling is all about. A lot of fun, a lot of great matches, a lot of athleticism. It is awesome. And on that show, it was a 2-day event. I believe it was their very first 2-day event in the history of their Fed. I could be wrong. There might have been 2-day shows years ago. But as far as my knowledge, since the GBYWN started, this is their first ever 2-day event. And on day one, I walked in claiming that I would be undefeated at WrestleLenium. You see, Daniel Devine was undefeated for, I believe, I think it was 6-0, 5-0, 6-0, somewhere around there. Totally don't even know off the top of my head. But I was going to beat his record, and how are you going to do that in 2 days? Well, that's where the heel tactics come in. But anyway, I walk in saying, I'm going to be undefeated. I'm going to break the WrestleLenium undefeated streak. Hashtag the rad streak. And a lot of people liked that. I thought it was really fun to do that. Getting away from the grifter stuff for just a weekend, enjoying the rad streak. And I opened my streak with a fatal 4-way attraction that I could not have been happier about. Once again, I got to face off with none other than Zagan, that young lion. I love that kid. He is awesome. He's going to be one of those guys that a couple years down the road, he will be amazing if he sticks to it. And I wish he wrestled more. I know he's far away. Man, I wish he wrestled more, though, in the GBYWN. Once again, he and I, we have to have a moment. Every time we wrestle, we have a little moment. So what does he do? He gives me the it's fucking over TKO into a pool. Soaked all my gear. Totally worth it. It was awesome. I pantsed him during the match, which pissed him off enough to TKO me into a fucking pool, people. Please check that out. It was so much fun. Once again, Zagan gets me. He one-ups me yet again. I'll get him someday, that Zagan. But either way, I was able to wrestle the match and continue on by pinning none other than Gavin Nails. And I know some of you guys might not be too familiar with Gavin Nails, but let me tell you, he's here right around a couple years, but he's still very much a young lion. But he is the quintessential young lion, because he doesn't try to copy anybody. He wants to be completely 100% himself, but he listens. He listens to everything. He wants to learn everything. He wants to be better. He wants to be noticed. He wants to be a backyard wrestler. I don't know if he wants to go pro or not, but he definitely right now in this moment, he wants to be the best he can be, and it's awesome to see that. And he's one of those kids that a couple years down the line, he might be something. He really could. It's one of those guys that you see potential, and it's like a marble brick or something where you got to chisel out what's inside to get there. You got to take time with these guys. I would say the first 2 to 3 years of any backyard wrestler's career, they're a rookie. I say that about myself. I was a rookie for the first couple of years. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying so hard to do something. And luckily people understood that, they saw that, and they respected it, and it meant the world to me that they did. But either way, Gavin Nails, awesome. He took the Crucifix Driver like such a champ. So if you see Gavin Nails on your card, especially if you're going to wrestle him, give him the benefit of the doubt. Really try to help mold this kid, because he could be something in the future. He really could be a great benefit to the GBYWN. I know he's going to be a great benefit to Connecticut. He deserves at least a shot here. But folks, let me tell you, I walked into that yard on that Saturday morning, and I said, "Where's PJ Matthews?" And he said, "Oh, he's not here right now." I said, "Tell him to get here. I want to be here, because I wanted to wrestle PJ Matthews." I've been wanting to wrestle PJ Matthews for years now. Years. There was one chance I had to wrestle PJ Matthews. It was an episode of New Era Grapgasm, and it didn't happen. And let me tell you, I've been wanting to wrestle PJ for so long. PJ Matthews, I love you, man. I love you. Ever since I met you, I believe, was it PKM 2, PKM 3? Oh, no, it might have been WrestleFest. I feel stupid for not remembering, but it was in like 2011, 2012 when I met you. We actually went out to a buffet together. We had a blast. Such a blast. I'll tell you a little story. PJ Matthews and a whole group of us went out. It must have been WrestleFest or PKM 2. Or Goodbye. Damn it, I don't remember. Anyway, we went to, I believe it was the Old Country buffet. And we all got in, we all got our seats, and he ended up wanting some ice cream, but there was no ice cream bowls. So what he did was he got a hot plate and put all of his ice cream on the hot plate, and by the time he got back to the table, it all melted. So he ended up just drinking it with a straw. And at some point, he made a happy face. And I remember he looked at us, maybe he was a little under the weather, let's say. But he said, "Oh, I wish I had more ice cream." And somebody said, "Oh yeah, just turn the plate around, just spin the plate around and you'll get more ice cream." He goes, "Oh great." And he spun the plate around, just turned it, 180 around, and then realized it was not going to wear us all the same plate. So, there's my PJ Matthews story. Try to fool him. I guess it was pretty easy that night. Anyway, PJ Matthews and I have been wanting to wrestle a guy forever. We had a little sequence. It was so much fun. I finally got my back scraped by PJ Matthews. I'm so happy about that. And we both talked about it after the match. We would love to do a singles. We would love to have a comedy match. Oh my God, it'd be so awesome! It'd be awesome! Somebody book that, please. But either way, I won the match. And as I got up in victory, soaking wet, I yelled, "Undefeated! 3-0! Well, I just won one match. Well, no, haha, you see, Rad Hazard's smarter than that. He beat 3 people in that match, in that fatal 4-way match. He's 3-0! At this point, I'm going to make it to that record. I'm going to break that record for sure. Day 2. A fatal actually, no, it was an elimination. It was an elimination. 4-way tag team match. And in that match, myself and Big Sexy Venom teamed up for the very first time as the Radical Movement. took on Drake Cannon and Eric Erickson, two guys that I really think are the future of tag team wrestling in our little circuit. I love those guys. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what they're all about. They have everything in check, and they're just waiting for the opportunity, man. Let me tell you, they should be getting some bigger tag team matches in the future. I'd love to see them take on the Flamboys. I'd love to see them take on the Wrecking Crew. I'd love to see them take on the Titan Towers. If that would ever happen. I'd love to see them take on the Stepdads. Oh, so many good teams that they could be wrestling, and I really want to see that. I would love to wrestle them in a one-on-one tag team match. You know, team v team. I would love that. In that match, I took the curb stomp that actually he kicks to your face rather than the back of your head, so you're actually on your back. Took that into the plywood, the planks, under the base. Eric Erickson got powerbombed by Venom into the pool. That being the first and second, my TKO and his powerbomb being the first and second time the pool has ever been used in the spot, which blows my mind. I actually learned that after I did the spot. Oh yeah, you're the first time, you're the first person to ever do that. I was like, haven't you been here like a year? Are you kidding me? In that match, Onya and Jake Hudson, as well as their own tag team. I guess you'd call them Team 203 BYW, because that's where they come from. But Onya, I hear, is moving soon, and it breaks my heart. Onya, where you going, man? Don't move away. I love your gimmick. Onya's gimmick is the best. The quintessential stereotypical Asian guy. The chopsticks and all the fish and all that stuff. The eating cats and all that. We even used it in the match. He was running at me. Venom yelled, "Look, a cat!" And he turned around, and then I got him. But, great stuff. Jake Hudson, another one of those guys. Very much a young gun, young lion. Keep working at it, guy. Keep working at it. You could be a next, Ryan Rage or something if you keep it up. I really like to see that. And then you got your team, your real mixed bag. That's what I would call this. The real mixed bag of Killer K and Fruit Water. Fruit Water being from WCW, if you ever heard of him. He came out in a cape, did like a superhero kind of deal. Interesting. I don't know, maybe the fruit water is like Popeye spinach or something? Gets them going? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, love chain wrestling Killer K. Didn't even touch fruit water in the match. So there's that. I don't really have much to say on that. But he was pretty good in the match. I mean, he was surprisingly, decent in the match. Even had a table spot, I believe, at some point. But, over the weekend, he had a table spot. But yeah, I mean, I like the chain wrestle Killer K. Had a blast. And once again, Rad Hazard victorious! Venom hitting Drake Cannon with that devastating pile driver. Getting him with the crucifix driver. Once again, another beautiful crucifix driver. I'm really nailing these crucifix drivers now. And, 50-50 thanks to the people doing it as well. They should just... Yeah, sorry. They should get just as much credit as I should. And I won the match. Well, guess what? That's 3 tag teams. That's 6 people. That makes Rad Hazard 9-0 at WrestleMania. Breaking the streak. Keep moving on until next year. Rad Hazard unbeatable. I thought it was great. People booed it and everything. It was great. But that was that. Great time at WrestleMania 7. Cannot wait to go back to Connecticut. Oh my goodness. So much fun. So much fun. I actually went to a McDonald's where their parking lot was under... it was in an indoor park. No, I wouldn't say indoor. It was like a multi-layered parking lot. I can only compare it to a casino parking lot, because that's what I know from Vegas, where you have the multiple story parking lot. But this one, the first story had an entrance to the McDonald's, and it was like a back room entrance kind of thing. It was so different. It was something else. And this is coming from a guy who I've been to 2-story McDonald's and 3-story McDonald's. If you ever go to Florida, they have a 3-story McDonald's in there with a bowling alley. Yeah, they have a bowling alley. It's right next to the waterfall. I just wanted that to soak in for a second. Now, before we get to the interview with the Russ, let me talk about something else, because we have had a little problem with getting these GBYWN event recaps done. I've been holding off on them and trying to get these other interviews out, trying to get this other stuff out. Well, you know what? It's time for a little lightning round. Right now, it is time for the GBYWN event recaps lightning round. Alright folks, now as always, I am only human. I could miss some things, I could get some things wrong with these recaps, it happens all the time. And I'm actually going back all the way to March because some of these events weren't quite out yet, or they weren't on the recap list yet, or their footage wasn't out, or whatever the case may be, the results weren't in yet, whatever. So I have gone all the way back to anything from this year that hasn't been recapped yet, and I'm going all the way down until recent memory. Now there's going to be a couple things missing, and that is because those things are not out yet, okay? So wait your turn! One at a time, get in line, come on people. But here we go with the lightning round of the recaps. First of all, March 20th, 2014, in the United Kingdom saw RCWA Underground 96. Opening contest saw the Internet TV champion Ark Howlett defeat Brian Killjoy by way of pinfall. Sean Wilson was able to defeat Rise Wood, and Ash Draven in the main event defeated Johnny White. After that, March 25th, 2014, in the United Kingdom saw RCWA Resistance, episode 49. In the opening contest, Brian Killjoy defeated Kerry White by knockout. You don't see that very often. In the main event, Damian Black able to defeat Jim Catastrophe by way of pinfall. March 29, 2014, in Australia, hosted WZWA Backyard TV, episode 8. Opening contest saw Aston Crude defeat DK Joker. A 6-man tag team match. Don't see those too often in Backyard Wrestling. Good to see it. Saw the Dark Circus defeat Mexicanda Lucha Libre. I'm sure you can assume that they're all masked wrestlers. Singles bout as Kai Fusion defeated El Papacito. And in your main event of the evening, Dark Ice successfully defended the WZWA Championship over the WZWA Backyard Champion, Mike Delcano. Champion versus champion there. Great to see that. WZWA always doing creative and interesting stuff. I love it. RCWA Underground, episode 97, hosted April 3rd, 2014 in the United Kingdom. Opening contest saw Damian Black defeat Rise Wood by way of pinfall. Our very own Sam Jude, the GBYWN World Heavyweight Champion at the time, defeated Jim Catastrophe. And in your main event of the evening, Ash Draven defeated Brian Killjoy. April 6th, 2014 in New York, hosted WZW Unlucky 13, episode 1, the season premiere of WZW. WCW Intercourt Championship was on the line as Freak Show defeated Joey RDM. Oh boy, this is a hard name to say. Maschalismos, the Phoenix 666, defeated the Average Bear, CJ Murder, and JC Fruitwater Johnson Cole. One-on-one as Drake Cannon defeated the Bows. The GBYWN United States Champion, the Russ, defeated LT Slater, Obsidian, and the Stuffer Man, Polly Pucks. Fatal 4-way attraction there. With Gray T as the special guest referee, Venom defeated Scuba Steve. Not to be confused with Big Sexy Venom, completely different guy. One-on-one as the Doctor defeated Mr. Colin. An 11-man mini rumble for the #1 contendership to Freak Show's Intercore Championship saw the Bows defeat Drake Cannon, Paul Pucks, Revolver, LT Slater, Some Flower Guy, JC Cole, Scuba Steve, The Ogre, Maschalismos, the Phoenix 666, and Obsidian. The Bows set for a future title shot against the Freak Show. And in your main event of the evening, Mark Martel captured the WZW Championship in a fatal 4-way attraction against champion 750 High Levels and Corey Diamond. What a kickoff for WZW. Mark Martel once again with the championship. We're going to see how it goes with that, huh? April 10th, 2014, in the United Kingdom, saw RCWA Underground, episode 98. Opening contest saw Dan Van Vertigo defeat Apollo. One-on-one as Ark Howlett defeated the Phantom by countout. It's good to see countout victories here once in a while. You know, they're not as good as a pinfall submission, but they should be utilized. And in your main event of the evening, the RCWA Tag Team Champions A4 defeated Sean Wilson and Will Ospreay. April 13th, 2014, in New York, saw WZW Unlucky 13 Episode 2. You know, it makes me wonder, are they going to have an Unlucky 13 Episode 13? Either way, in the opening contest, Mark Martel successfully retained the WZW Championship against J.C. Fruitwater Johnson. One-on-one, as Stufferman Polly Pucks defeated Revolver. Singles bout as the Average Bear, CJ Murder, defeated Andy Royal. Joey RDM defeated Quaff, Maschilismos, the Phoenix 666, and Aries. A last man standing match saw the Ogre defeat Newport George. And the WZW Intercourt Championship was on the line as Freak Show defeated JC Fruitwater Johnson. Singles bout as Higher Levels defeated Drake Cannon. One-on-one as 750 defeated Scuba Steve. And in the main event of the evening, 750 defeated Scuba Steve. But wait! An impromptu bout blew up as Corey Diamond defeated Stufferman Paul Pucks. April 15th, 2014, in the United Kingdom, hosted RCWA Resistance Episode 50, a milestone for RCWA. In the opening contest, Johnny White defeated Harley Davis. And in your main event of the evening, Dick Manwich defeated Dan Van Vertigo by way of disqualification. April 19th, 2014, in New Jersey, hosted EWA Payoff. In the opening contest, the GBYWN World Tag Team Champion Patrick Wade Wilson defeated Ryan Rage. Joey Adams successfully defended the EWA Tri-State title against Michael Massacre. Brandon the Bull defeated Romano Galano. Arkham defeated Red Hazard by way of disqualification. And in your main event of the evening, Joe Hall successfully defended the EWA Championship over DJ RJ. April 20th, 2014, in the United Kingdom, hosted RCWA Passion for Blood 2014. In the opening contest, Damian Black captured the RCWA Internet TV Championship, defeating champion Ark Howlett and Brian Killjoy. The RCWA Tag Team Champions, A4, successfully defended the gold over Tim Lee and GBYWN World Champion Sam Jude by way of disqualification. One-on-one as Dan Van Vertigo defeated Jin Catastrophe. A 2-on-3 handicap match saw Ash Draven and LVG defeat Rise Wood, Johnny White, and Phantom. And in your main event of the evening, the RCWA Championship was on the line as champion Sean Wilson wrestled Will Ospreay to a no contest. Guys, let me tell you something. If you're not watching RCWA, you really should be. I mean, think about it. You saw NYE, did you not? You saw the likes of Tim Lee. You saw at NYE End It Goodbye the likes of Sam Jude. These are two amazing men, two great technical wrestlers, two great brawlers. They will do whatever it takes to be the best, and you love them for it. I love them for it. They are great people and great wrestlers, and they're a part of this fed called RCWA. And let me tell you, you gotta check it out. You gotta check out the great talent in this fed. They are doing some great stuff. They have some fun storylines as well. And they kill it at these big shows like this. They want you to watch their stuff. They want to be the best in the United Kingdom, in the world. And they had the World Championship for quite some time. So please, take a moment, check out a couple episodes of RCWA, and you'll love it. I guarantee it, you'll love it. You will love RCWA. April 20th, 2014 in New York, hosted WZW Unlucky 13, Episode 3. In the opening contest, JC Fruitwater Johnson defeated Robbie the Rummy. Freak Show successfully defended the WZW Intercore Championship over Andy Royal. One-on-one as Aries defeated the Ogre. Stufferman Polly Pucks defeated Big Cy. No disqualification as Joey RDM defeated Revolver. And in your main event of the evening, K-Rod Kevin Rodriguez defeated Higher Levels. Once again, a special appearance from Kelvin Rodriguez. Always fun to see that. And more fun from WZW. April 26, 2014 in Australia, hosted WZWA Hard Time 3. An ECW rules match saw Mojo Flow defeat El Papacito. One-on-one as Daniel Johnson defeated Rex Regum to capture the GBYWN Australian Championship, a huge title change here. The Franchise defeated Circus Royale to retain the WZWA Tag Team Gold. In an impromptu match, Mykonos defeated Big Red Ryan Tate. An I Quit match saw Mike Delcano defeat JD Flame to retain the WZWA Backyard Championship. For those of you who don't know, the Backyard Championship is a title where the champion determines the stipulation for the belt. This one being an I Quit match. Big Ace defeated Steel Kemsley via pinfall. Three Dog defeated Kilowatt Chaos to become the new GBYWN World Hardcore Champion. What a death match. Three Dog becoming the new king of hardcore in the global backyard wrestling nation. Check out some of WZWA's great hardcore bouts. They treat this belt so special. They had a huge, nearly year-long tournament for this belt, where every match mattered. And let me tell you, they do some great death matches, so check them out. One-on-one as the Revolutionary Clint Marshall defeated Daredevil Brian Lowe. The Backyard Gangsta Acid defeated Hardcore Superstar Antilochus. And in your main event of the evening, the Cannibal Dan Zeppelin defeated the Suburban Nightmare Dark Ice, Rockstar Alex Stone, and the Commish Aston Crude to become the new WZWA Champion. April 26, 2014 in Connecticut, hosted 203 BYW. Oops, we did it again. In the opening contest, the GBYWN World Tag Team Champion Daniel Devine defeated Zagan. One-on-one as Knuckles defeated Sean O'Mora. Singles competition as Primetime defeated Ace Reed. A singles bout saw Gavin Nails defeat Mike Wild. The Russ successfully retained the GBYWN United States Championship over PJ Matthews and Doc Holliday. Triple R defeated Jordan Smalls. The Perfection was able to go over Christopher Rowe. Crazy Pete defeated Marcus Santafonte. Benjamin Right Back defeated Crucible Chris Ambrose. And in your main event of the evening, Andrew Wright successfully retained the 203 BYW Championship over JD Static. April 27th, 2014 in New York, hosted WZW Unlucky 13, Episode 4. In the first round of the Amsterdam title tournament, Higher Levels defeated Grey T. Match number 1 of a gauntlet saw the Suspects, JC Fruitwater Johnson and Revolver, defeat Armageddon of Massachusetts, the Phoenix 666, and the Ogre. Match number 2 saw Origins Reunited, Joey RDM and Stufferman Polly Pucks defeat the Suspects. Match number 3 saw the Family Enforcers of Big Eric and Dominator defeat Origins Reunited. The Family Enforcers, the winners of the gauntlet. A first-round bout in the Amsterdam title tournament saw Drake Cannon defeat Aries. Another match in the first-round title tournament of Amsterdam's championship saw J.C. Fruitwater Johnson defeat 750. Amsterdam title tournament round 1. Stufferman Polly Pucks defeated Newport George. First round action as Obsidian defeated Joey RDM. A non-tournament singles bout saw the Doctor defeat Robbie the Rummy. Yet another first round match in the Amsterdam title tournament saw Corey Diamond defeat CJ Murder. In the first semi-finals bout for the Amsterdam Championship, Drake Cannon defeated J.C. Fruitwater Johnson. The second of 3 semi-finals bouts for the Amsterdam Championship Tournament saw Stufferman Polly Pucks defeat Higher Levels by countout to advance. And the final semi-finals bout for the Amsterdam title tournament saw Corey Diamond defeat Obsidian. And in your main event of the evening, Scuba Steve defeated Gray T. April 27th, 2014 in New Jersey, hosted OCWS Redemption 3. The opening contest saw a death match as Kyle Black defeated Scars. VD defeated Avada. JD Slayer defeated Enigma. Sabotage successfully defended the OCWS Extreme Limits Championship over Infamous Kid. In a Superstars Week hype match, Lee defeated Tommy Guns Cobran. TKO was able to go over the UWC champion Killa K. Big Sexy Venom dethroned Drix. And in your main event of the evening, a non-title bout, as Jimmy Spino was able to defeat the OCWS champion Saint Vengeance and Truth.
I got the biggest boner for science.
Alright folks, there you have it. I've given you the recaps all the way up to May 1st, and that's still a little ways away. So hopefully next couple episodes, I'm just going to knock these out of the park and get all the way up to current times here in the GBYWN. But hopefully you'll listen to those, hear some interesting matches, and look them up. That's a big reason why I do this. For not only for the recaps, for you to keep up with, but you say, oh wow, Benjamin Right Back wrestled Crucible Chris Ambos. That's insane. I would really like to see that. You know, or, oh, I've never heard of Kyle Black and Scars. I wonder if their death matches any worth watching. So check these out, guys. Check them all out. All of these are online in some form of capacity, whether it be music video or clip show or full match, whatever it is. Check out all of these events. But now, I want you to check out something else. I want you to check out something that's going to blow your mind. It's going to be so much fun. I hope you have as much fun as I did in that hotel that night, sitting there with the Russ in a spa, in a hot tub, if you will. Yeah, that's how we're going to start this, folks. The Russ does his interview from a fucking hot tub, because that's how the Russ rolls. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, this is the Russ!
Jump to the future. One of the first times that I fucking please I had to restart promos is the one where me, you, and Warren were interacting. No, don't worry about it.
Which one was that?
Well, New Era, Grabgasm. When we were doing that whole like unification or like I wrestled twice in one day. Mm-hmm. That was the most where we had to keep going over.
Well, there's a lot going on in that. Like everyone wanted to do their individual little thing while we were talking,
which. You would think people would think about selling their character anytime they're on camera. Wait a minute, I need to be asleep. Yeah, no shit, Ben. Good one.
I just liked my part in that promo. It was just simple enough as me being
In the
back, just not giving a fuck about a thing Rad said, just idolizing my trophy and my
Agreeable, disagreeable Murph.
just occasionally looking back, shrugging my shoulders, looking at my reflection in the trophy. So narcissistic.
I noticed none of that. No. Mostly because, it's facing a different way, Murph. I wasn't even looking this way.
It's fine.
All right,
I'm
so
looking at anybody.
I just love your logic and your tag belt. I don't have to focus on this. I have this.
Yeah, but you should focus on this and that.
Yeah. I gotta focus on this and that.
No, you should focus.
What about this
I have
and
to
this?
focus on this.
Why would I focus on this? I have this.
Well, it made sense to me.
That's what really matters. Hey, so these are the world tag titles. Last time I checked, New Era was in the world.
Did I even say that?
I said that. Right? Apparently that was Don's favorite line of the whole thing. These are the world tag titles. Last time I checked, New Era was in the world.
Who was it who made fun of your blazers?
Oh.
Was it Justin?
Probably.
Alright.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, you are joining us in the Econo Lodge right now, right next to our hot tub. Figure that one out.
I feel like you can't look you in the eyes.
Please don't. Right now in the hot tub we have Murph. Say hi, Murph.
Hi, Murph.
Good job. And right next to me, actually, we got BRB, Benjamin right back. Say hi, Ben.
For the record, I am out of the tub.
Just a good call. But there is one other man in the tub right now. He is the man we were about to interview. Jeez, you've had so many belts, I don't even know where to start.
And I've ended a lot of them.
Exactly. Let's see, WCW champion, BKW champion.
EOW champion, nobody knows that.
We'll get into that.
WCW hardcore champion.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the first belt I held in WCW. My original gimmick for WCW when I first showed up was that I won the hardcore belt, which pissed the guy off that blackballed me from professional wrestling and Mark from opening up his professional place at High Rollers. But he was so pissed off because he didn't get a title shot or anything like that. Because he's like, oh, you're gonna put the belt. But so they put a hardcore belt on me, and then my whole gimmick was I don't use weapons. I hate it.
Ah, the anti-hardcore.
The classic, yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, and right as of right now, he is the current reigning and defending GBYWN United States Champion. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Russ.
Yes, I am what you would call an interstate phenomena.
Ooh. Big league.
Yeah, right. It's the fucking biggest secret around.
All right, well, let's jump back in time. Let's start you know what? Let's start at the very beginning. Where were you born?
Oh, we're gonna do that.
Let's go all the way back.
I was born in Saratoga Springs, New York. That's where the whole racetrack thing, that's like the number 3, like there's the Belmonts and whatever the fuck, the Aqueduct, and then there's that. That's actually part of the 3 New York big racetrack places. That's what it's known for. Mm-hmm. But when I was growing up, it was actually a lot quieter. Like, of course, I wasn't really aware of gambling, so it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm 10, what's going on over here? Right. But Saratoga wasn't really expanded by this point. My grandparents had a whole forest for a backyard, even though there was like a fence. Yes, there was at least a good, I would say, 3-mile stretch of woods.
Wow.
Behind my grandparents' place, which was crazy for me because, I mean, like, I moved to Albany when I was 2, so I ended up spending a good 27 years. No, I'm way older than that now. 29 years, pardon me. 29 years in Albany, woohoo. And I think I should have stayed in Saratoga for a good portion at least, to give a guy a fighting chance till like 10 or something, shit. But I grew up, my father was a stay-at-home dad. And by stay-at-home dad, I mean a lazy stoner that never wanted to work. Hey, we gotta accept these things. I love him to death, but still, it's fucking what it was.
Reality is reality.
Uh-huh.
Reality is reality.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also, my mother was a terrible human being. She was on angel dust and crack when she was pregnant for me.
Jeez.
Like, she had done a couple of those things. Yeah, I should be really fucked up. I should be like a TJ Cena or a stuffer. And even though I've been equated to as such, not necessarily as so.
No, you're perfectly normal hanging out in the hot tub with us and after a backyard wrestling show. Perfectly normal.
In 2 different states.
Yeah, for 2 different wrestling matches, different states. All right. Well, let's talk about your early years. Do you remember your very first experiences with wrestling in general?
Experiences with wrestling in general, I would say the most memorable, because I mean, my dad was totally into it, stuff like that. So like, I'm very familiar with '80s. I would say the very first wrestler I remember loving was George the Animal Steel.
Yes.
Like, that was actually the first guy that I remember being like, I love this guy! Like, you know, it was like, you know, 4 or 5 year old, like, Hulk Hogan, woo! But then even at like 7, 8, I was like, he just does a leg drop. What the fuck's wrong with people? Like, at least fucking Randy Savage had the top rope fucking elbow drop. Like,
And he wasn't invincible.
no, exactly. Like, I really got sick of the whole thing. We just touched hands. Hey, Murph.
It's gonna get weird.
It's gonna get sexy, Wakka Wakka, bitches. but George Animal Steel was definitely my first favorite dude. I remember not caring about Ultimate Warrior versus Hogan. I could appreciate it. I got why people loved him, you know, shit like that. I kind of got tired of say your prayers, eat your vitamins things, you know, whatever. My favorite thing about Hogan was when he worked Piper.
Okay.
And that was it.
Yeah.
I loved Piper. I always liked bad guys for some reason. Don't know why. Like, George Animal Steel, not a bad guy really, but I was always a fan of charismatic characters. Like Steamboat, Savage, George, and fucking the other dude I just mentioned. Can't fucking remember. I'm a stoner. Piper.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my 4 top 80s dudes. You know what I mean? When I say 80s dudes, because I consider Bret Hart more of a 90s dude. He was a tag wrestler in the 80s, but I don't think he was getting over as a singles, and so on and so forth, and with promos until way later, because Jimmy Hart was more of the mouth for them. Which, duh.
Yeah, right?
Which I wish we need to get back to that day. Like, I'm glad they have people like Zeb Coulter on TV and shit like that, because we need more mouths out there. For people like Kofi Kingston, who probably can't cut promos for shit, but he should totally be like a top level heel. Like, why is he not a Paul Heyman guy? People be surprised by it. Maybe a high flyer.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Does anybody have any?
Get in there, Murph!
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Hint. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Murph is a little scared now.
I'm waiting a little bit.
All right.
But yeah, that's my first memory though that involves wrestling that I remember about it was when I was in kindergarten / like first grade. One of the rewards, because this is when they were first allowing TVs in classrooms and shit like that. I was always a nerd. I was always some kind of honor student. I do really well, and like my first memory of me participating in wrestling was when I was in kindergarten. A couple of times, the teacher would just leave the room. So of course, naturally, me and like 3 or 4 of the guys would just start fucking around and like we body slam each other on the play mats. And I was doing this in kindergarten.
Jeez.
Yeah. But like the reward for like doing well on a test or getting good grades or anything like that was like you could like I watched a Royal Rumble in class because I had all my schoolwork done so early.
Really?
Yes.
Like on VHS or?
Yeah, of course. That's all we had, man.
It's like, oh, here's the live
old as shit.
pay-per-view.
If you sneeze, I may have particles of dust fall off of me. That's my being. Don't sneeze.
Alright, okay.
Didn't say sneezing anyway.
Good. As he should, because he probably has the same problem. The man's not invincible. Even though he did feud with God. But yes, that was one of my first memories is like being able to like, I kind of felt like an asshole because like the way the TV was set where it's facing towards the chalkboard and there was just a couple of seats in the front of the TV. Eventually kids were adding chairs to it. So by the end of the day, but I would be one of the first people doing all my shit. I'm like, boop, 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 yay. And there I was watching most of the, I would at least see the whole Royal Rumble match every time. Like maybe I was an idiot kid. That's when they started. I don't remember. Like, you know what I mean? But I do remember that being a reward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want me to go into my first memories of starting backyarding, like, there was like a Fight Club-ish type thing that happened after high school, but unfortunately, I knew a lot about grappling just from watching TV because I'm like a fucking sponge. And some people got a little serious, and some of them turned into real fights. They were pretty funny because I kept winning. And so eventually there was
What year are we talking about on this right now?
Holy shit.
Are we talking 90s?
99.
Okay, so like right in the middle of that big
99,
explosion,
98,
yeah.
actually, yeah. I always fucked around with some friends here and there from like 96 to 98. Like, I mean, it was in middle school, but that was a lot of more. That was more gang warfare. Like, hall monitors considered it like play. There was like a big group of kids that really wanted to whoop my ass, and I ran from like 15 to 20 kids. And it was ridiculous because I'm sitting there sliding on grass because I was like 4'9" up until like the end of my 10th grade year, so I was a short little shit.
Oh, man.
And so I was speedy, I ran a lot, I fucking ducked. I had to start outthinking people because growing up in the neighborhood, I got jumped by like 12 people when I was 10 or 11. Like, they had 3 baseball bats, shit like that. Like, I mean, I've had my ass handed to me. That's why I'm resilient now. It's like, I have a pain tolerance for a reason because it came from fucking getting my ass handed to me a lot until I learned how to fight large groups of people. And so when I got jumped, it didn't matter anymore. I'm just like, oh, I can take these first initial hits. Just depends on if there's any weapons. Oh, there's no weapons. He's so fucked. It's just went from there. And I'm not saying like, oh, what a maverick. I mean, this maybe happened like 3 times total in my life, maybe 4. But I learned how to fight back in large groups. And so that was one of the things that happened in middle school. It eventually turned into like a faction warfare between me and 3 of my friends and like 4 or 5 guys that were like 1 year older than me. So when I went to school, when I was a freshman in high school, within the first 2 months I was suspended already.
Jeez.
But that was the only fight I had in high school that was recorded.
Okay.
But you know, and it turned out that was yet another like wrestling type situation that I had no clue about. Pre-planned. Like my friend and like these 3 guys like kind of jumped on him. Like it was supposed to be him and the one other dude. And the 2 guys just jumped on him. And all I see is these 3 guys jumping my friend. So I knock them all off and I'm like, get the fuck away from him. And I pick up my bag and I'm like, come on, Lou. And I turn around and all I get is this fucking giant dude's fist in my. That's all I see. It's the last thing. I turn around and right into it, and this dude just broke my nose.
Oh.
And all I see is a flush of red. And like I see this girl's face when she's helping me up, and she's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Really?" And I look, I'm like, "Where is he?" And he's like already around the corner. I end up. Adrenaline's a crazy motherfucker because I ran like, say this is the hallway right here, ran forward and did a spin kick around the wall and hit his head into the wall because we had movable metal walls. I completely dented it. Like his whole body went into it, and all I did was just stand there and keep fucking punching him until hall monitors were like, I'm like, all this happened with nobody around, no teachers, no hall monitors, nothing.
Like nose busted and
Yeah. And then of course, you know, being a younger guy, I didn't know anything about concussion, so I'm like, I'm tired, let me sleep.
Oh no.
And they're like, no. I'm like, what? Why? I'm just tired. Just beat somebody's ass. And he's in the nurse's office with me, and they're like, don't. He's like, what, bitch? I'm like, come get some more. And I'm like sitting there with a neck brace on, like, go ahead. Like nothing was gonna happen, of course, but it's just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, I led a volatile lifestyle up until then. Up until then, like it stopped. Right?
Now, yeah.
Wrestling now.
Everything is there.
Fucking driving across state lines for silly bullshit. But yeah, like, so there's that whole high school bullshit rigmarole. But I actually didn't get into backyarding until 2002. Like, I was 20, shit. So 2003. I was 20, and this guy. I actually made a allusion to this earlier. There's this big guy that was a doofy fucker named John Mars. And I thought he was a nice dude. He was a regular customer at my job. Or what, did he work for me? I can't remember. That detail's inconsequential. But I think he did work for me. But he was like, hey, what do you think of the wrestling and stuff? I'm like, I fucking love wrestling. And why? He's like, well, I do this backyarding thing. And I'm like, alright. So my first match is against a masked character called the Taco Violator.
What a debut!
Well, I had a finishing move called the burrito in the anus.
What?
Good work.
Good. Are you sure this was backyard wrestling?
Yeah,
I don't think
Isn't it just one big phallic dick joke in the first place? I mean, I'm starting to think so. It is a fucking pissing contest at the very least. But, so they had me go against this masked guy, and so he was like, alright, you can do whatever. And like, this dude was actually really good. I wish he actually got into traveling, because he was a real time, like, a heavier set fellow, but he knew how to fucking work. He could fucking move. He moved lucha style even.
So he was pretty
Yes,
skilled
He
already.
had 3 different characters. This fucking Fed survived off of 7 different people. EOW, Extreme Outdoor Wrestling. CJ Scott, he's a pro wrestler now. But, you know, he's real successful. But, you know, he's made it far. Oh wait, no, he's still around the same area. I'm sorry, I forgot. Because nobody knows. You suck, Scott. Scott Fellows, the man who is related to Evan Fellows, who's actually not a bad fellow. But
what about your gimmick? When was your gimmick starting out? Did you have one?
I started off as Incarnation.
Oh, okay, there you go.
But I actually blew these guys away because my first 2 moves was a drop toe hold, then I floated over into a hammerlock. Blew them away. They're like, wait, this guy knows these. But that's how bad the dude who brought me in was. Because they were like, wait a minute, this guy knows this? What the fuck? Like, they were amazed. Like, pretty much I've made a whole career, quote unquote, on basic simple shit. I mean, for the most part, I just throw in a little bit of complicated stuff here and there, and then it's just like, oh, well, I can wow people with just simple stuff too. It's just all about how you use it. I mean, that's all wrestling is. But, and I think it's the fact that I've gotten that since the beginning that's helped me throughout the whole time. Like, even when I've been shit on, quote unquote, when I, like, for a while, I wasn't even aware that was occurring. You know, because I was with the EOW for, I think we were running for like 3 years after they joined.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then me and Scott traveled to WCW, I think in 06. I could be wrong. The beginnings of WCW were a little fuzzy. My first impression of WCW was not very good. But I liked Mark. Like, I really liked Martel. And there was a couple people like Manic, I actually enjoyed them. Jake Adams, you know, you could tell right off the bat he was a fucking suck up, but I love that, like, he's not a bad guy either, but he was just like he was like the fucking Care Bear of wrestling, you know what I mean? Like, he was just like, I love you. And it's just like, you know, it was just like, alright, cool, buddy, can you let me breathe? Thanks. Like I don't know, I don't like the whole, like, being up other people's asses thing, and I was still, like, I didn't have the internet for the longest fucking time, like, up until about, you know, smartphones, when I had one, like, I didn't really have internet on a regular basis until I don't know when, because I didn't for a while. I'd have access to it, like, pretty much when I started going to school, that's when I had a little bit more regular access to it than any other time. Like, well, that's why I'm just already trained to not watch other feds, shit like that. Mm-hmm. But I try to be aware of who people are, so on and so forth. Like, actually be a little bit more informed than just be like, you're the guy who did a flip. Like, you know.
When you started out, did you know that there were other backyard wrestling?
Hell no!
Okay.
No fucking clue. Like, the spot that I was at, it was actually pretty dope. It was in Schenectady off of Dead End Road. And it was near, like, a whole bunch of, like, trails that people use for ATVs and whatnot. And it was a ring in a wooded off area, but another Fed ran out of there and I had no idea. Like, you know, the first couple shows, but then, like, they had a super show. So there were 16 people. No, it was easily like maybe 24 people and I thought it was gigantic. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh my god. And like 5 of them are just watching. There was some creepy like, I don't know, man. Fuck. But that's where like that super show, like, which was in the first year that I was wrestling with these guys, that's when I met Martel. I met Martel back in 03 or 04.
Oh, so he just popped
I've
up
known
there.
him for a long fucking time.
Wow.
Him and Landy especially. Like,
Landy Slam?
yeah.
Oh boy, nice name drop.
That one's for you, Mark. I'm saying that sarcastically because, well, it's Landy.
Beef.
No beef whatsoever. I just think, you know, kind of like the same problem that some people have with pushing people that don't show up or, you know, don't perform to the level that they're booked at. You know, tends to occur. But that was the first viewing that I've had of somebody being over, like, even with Rocco. Rocco's a good dude, great person, fucking wrestle anytime. Dude gets booked so goddamn much and money things, and he's just like, oh, I don't feel like wrestling. You know, it's just like he doesn't show up. Cool, whatever. And then when he does, people are like, oh my god, you're so great. Which, kind of like what Brody said, like when we were at Marshall's, like, oh, you got a go list, and people want to actually put you in good stuff. I can see that, but at the same time, I think that's horseshit. For people who don't know who the fuck I am, wouldn't it make sense for me to keep going out there, keep showing people what I can fucking do so more people are aware of what I can do, as opposed to just trying to be like, gee willikers, I hope they don't give me a Mike Williams booking!
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was the same way when I started going to BXW. It was very once in a while or whatever, and I got good bookings. But eventually it became, I want to get good bookings in other places too.
Yeah.
So you travel and get known and stuff. That's
what I'm saying.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, you know, now I have a job where I have the weekends off, which people think I'm just being a dick or whatever, blah, blah. But Chris has always been really good, Chris Urban, has always been really good about letting me know what shows were happening, because he's like, why don't you come down? And once I got a card, I'm like, dude, I just need to know in advance. Like, I tried to make it out to Connecticut last year, it just didn't work out too well. Because between the couple of weekends I was requesting off, my job was like, you can't have all these days off. And I'm just like, you know, my fucking job, a trained fucking monkey could do it, which eventually that's what turned out. Ooh, Rachel Byrne.
Oh my god.
But, you know, like, it fucking, you know, it was inconsequential in general. It's just, you know, situational. And that's why I've been traveling. People think it's like, I mean, it's part, yeah, I've got the US Championship. I really should have tried to travel in May if that is possible. But, you know, I don't think people are going to keep the tradition alive after I pass it on. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you make it to a couple shows a year, that'd be cool. But, you know, beyond that, I don't expect people to fucking try to put in the same kind of work that I did. Not insane. Like, you know, I got to a point where my body was fucking breaking down. He got like a good, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'd just be like, fuck this shit. Fuck this. I feel so tired just from work. And like, cause work was really grinding away at me. Like I was working, like I was putting in, there was at least 3 weeks consecutively that I put in like 53 hours. And then I was fucking wrestling either one day or both. That's why I love coming up to Connecticut. So I was like, oh, only one day show.
Even though we wrestled twice today.
Shut up.
It was one match.
Yeah, one
Yeah, it was
3
one
hour
complete
match.
3 hour match. Just shut your mouth. You shut your dirty whore mouth. You don't have your killing kindness movement to help you now, do you?
No.
I thought you out.
All right, well let's get over the EOW stuff. What do you have any memorable moments from that before we move on?
Yes, leaving it.
Fair enough.
Overall, there was a couple of
Right.
there was a couple of good people from there. All of them were really good people, or so I thought. It turned out that, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna throw this out there. I was put into a numerous series, Chris Jericho versus Booker T type, fucking 7-match series against this guy Freak Show. All right, I beat him all. Now, mind you. Or no, Freak, I'm sorry. Freak Show is the one from WCW.
That's why I laughed.
Freak! And he had like this long, thinning hair, and he just looked like an overgrown, like, goblin dwarf from, like, playing, like, what the fuck, Munchkin. Like, he looked like, kind of had, like, a wart on his nose. He's like, you know, he just...
So he was literally a freak.
He looked, yes, he looked like a doofy innkeeper, and he wore, like, the red, that Hot Topic, like, tribal up the each side, open button shirt, a black undershirt, jeans, I think, I don't know, no offense. But, you know, like, that whole thing. But he didn't believe in taking suplexes.
What?
Because he didn't like going upside down.
For like a 1/10 of a second.
I know a few people who are
But
like that.
he's terrified of it. He wouldn't do it. So I had to learn how to work around somebody who's not willing to sell for you, pretty much. I was like, oh, okay. And mind you, throughout, I think within my first year, or like, yeah, I think within my first year, Mad Monster came on the scene, and this other guy, Firestarter, and
Firestarter? Just wanted to point that out. There's a guy named Firestarter.
Not in a weird he actually happens to be a fire spinner now. So, apparently he really liked Prodigy. Yeah. He good guy, Josh, but not very creative when it comes to the whole wrestling thing. His idea for a finishing move was a move called the F-bomb, quote unquote, and he just Luthez you to the side as you held him, and he punched you in your head until you sold.
That's so stupid.
Shh, don't you dare.
Dude, Mad Monster was the very first person like I legit wrestled out of state. At RLS.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry. Why do you think I teamed with him?
Fucking terrible.
I know. Guess who trained him?
I was also terrible, but it was terrible.
Guess who trained him?
Oh.
CJ Scott.
Oh.
Like, we had different people. Like, I think Freak trained him.
Freak?
Yeah.
The perfect name for him.
Ooh, wait till I get to the meat of the Freak. Oh, man, this is so good. I'm so glad I have a forum to espouse this bullshit now.
Oh, go right ahead. Talk about the Freak.
Is it recording?
Yes, it is.
Oh, pardon me. Well, funny thing, you see, when it comes to people in general, and they hold things inside, and they're just like, oh man, you know, such a vile human being. Well, that guy, CJ Scott, who had me blackballed from wrestling and everything else,
Or tried to.
used to love having numerous person interludes, if you will, with other people. Like he had a fiance, he got married, blah blah blah. But he hooked up on a regular with this dude Freak and his girlfriend.
Like a menage a trois?
Yeah, not a menage a trois, it's a fucking four-way, buddy. That's an orgy. But if you knew how big some of these people were, you'd be like, oh. Let's just put it this way, they wouldn't fit on that bed.
Wow. Wow.
And apparently, according to said fiance / now wife, because I used to ride with them every once in a while, they're like, the women made a comment when I was riding around with them one time, they're like, they blow each other more than we ever have a chance to. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Yes. So, and I mean, like, if you'd be a lot more disgusted if you knew who these people were. But I think the funny part of all this was that eventually Scott got other dudes' lady pregnant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Classic.
You fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up. But I just think it's funny that this motherfucker sitting here, you know, blackballing me for pretty much any kind of wrestling creation or any chance of me not backyarding and shit like that. And then, yet, here I am, probably just, not probably, I know for a fact I'm still putting out better matches than this fuckface could ever. And that's why I was fucking blackballed from that shit, is because he was jealous of the fact that I was able to do things really well. Like, I was really impressing the trainer and shit like that, and he was just kind of like, yeah, I trained underneath Bobby Fish, for fuck's sake. Guy hated me. Hated me. That was one of the reasons why I stopped after a couple. No, that wasn't really a reason. I could give a fuck less if he didn't like me. I've always had that attitude. Like, just like, I don't care. Because I was openly honest with the trainer, JP Black. I told him I was a stoner. Why lie about it? I figure on a more line of, for cardio purposes, for just, you know, health reasons, they should know what I'm up to. They're not my doctor. They're not the police. They're not going to be like, I don't want your money anymore. It's like, don't lie. So, but he was just mad because the trainer was taking a liking to me, and I was doing a lot better, and aside from the 15-year-old in my fucking wrestling training class, I was one of the most in-shape guys there. Like, there's a couple of guys that looked like they were like the same size as me, but they could not keep up with me, like when it came to the workout drills, to keeping up with it. Like, I was the only one that was pushing the 15-year-old to the limit. Like, he would sit there and just look over, he's like, I'm surprised you're still keeping up. And I'm like, I'm surprised you're still talking. I'm like, or it's like, I'm surprised you're still surprised. I'm like, this is like the 4th time, dude, shut up. It's like Brandon talking about anything. But yeah, that super show, it got me to know people like Martel. I got to meet the wonderful Marcus Malibu, who at the time had his belly button pierced. Like, Malibu's a chill dude. He's, like, after the fact, he was a chill dude. But, like, there was some kind of static between him and some other... I think it was fucking Nick Peak. Ugh. Talk about somebody I wish I wasn't associated with for that long. Good. That's the thing. He's a weird dude, but he was all right with me. Like, we got along. But that's the unfortunate part of, like, being nice to some people. Sometimes you just want to be like, you creep me the fuck out. Leave me alone. Or at least sometimes. But, you know, he was another person that Hot Topic baby birded all over. You know, he fucking ate it up. But, like, there was some static with all that shit. So originally, I wasn't a big fan of Snare Malibu, because he was Crazy H at this time. And there was, like, a battle royal where, like, they wanted one of our guys should have gone over because their dudes were going over in the tournament. Very simple. And people were seriously butthurt about this. So, I was eliminating people. Now, mind you, I never told you what the ring was. It was fucking 4 wooden posts with garden hose. Nothing in the middle, just garden hose. On mattresses and a tarp. Fucking god awful. But it was also interesting because this is also the same Fed that had a buried alive match. And we actually dug a 4 to 5 foot hole.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And by we, I mean somebody else. Because I didn't fucking do that shit. But, yeah, my time in EOW lasted for like 3 years, 4 years, I can't remember. There actually were a couple of women in it. There was a guy who went as OGC. He ended up in WCW for a little while. He is by far my best example, one of my first examples of somebody who can come in who's not familiar with wrestling at all and still get the psychology fucking 100%. Like, when the matches we had in Amsterdam in WCW were some of the best matches I had ever had in Amsterdam. And this is with a dude that's like, Ben, you're athletic as fuck. No matter how many times you try to, like, people are like, oh, you're a big dude. But I mean, like, I'm just saying size-wise, tall. He was a tall dude, but like, kind of like a parrot. No athleticism whatsoever. But, like, he knew psychology, and, like, but he knew the moves enough, and it was funny. The OGC stood for Original Gangster Caesar, I believe, even though his name's Corey.
Okay.
But I just think the reason why I mention this is because one of the women came in as his valet, and she was the OGC.
Oh,
Great.
And then there's Mad Mosher's woman, Madam Mosher, which is really weird for me still because she went to the Afghanistan war, and she was a gunner, and her Jeep got flipped over, and she lost a leg, lost half her brain or some shit. I don't fucking know.
Wow.
But like she like had this like they had this whole like dinner for Ruby Tuesdays and shit. And, like she showed up to an Amsterdam show and like hit somebody with a chair, I believe. And they were shooting a documentary about her. Like there was like a whole crew that she had. Like I don't think they came to the backyard show, but like there was a crew with her that was like shooting a documentary about her and like what her interests were. And it was weird because I was like, hey, and I was talking with her, like trying to talk about something from the past, and she's like, I don't remember that. Like, she's like, I'm sorry. Like, and you could see it in her eyes. She was sorry. I'm like, don't be. I'm like, but Jesus Christ, it's so fucked up. You know what I mean? It's just like, God damn. Like, it's so weird to think of all the incidences that occur throughout life. Like, it's just like this broad went over to fucking be an army gunner, and well, I mean, even while she's all laid up and shit like that, she even said she's like, that's part of it though. She's like, sometimes this shit happens. I'm like, that's crazy that with half a brain you're thinking like that. It's almost like you're using a full brain. No, but it's fucking weird because I was like, when I went to 3BW, people were like, oh, people aren't used to women wrestlers. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I encountered this shit like 8 years ago. What the fuck are you, like, where have you been? No, you're been, don't worry. Nice. But, so the travel show to Amsterdam, alright, let's move on to my first impression of Amsterdam.
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
I was saying it's everybody's first impression of Amsterdam.
Maybe a little worse. Well, no, maybe about the same, actually. I've always been a stoner for as long as I can, well, since I was 21. I smoked pot a couple times when I was 17. and I got in trouble. Was on probation for 3 years. Didn't for a bit there, and then once I was 21, pretty much I would stop. So 10 years straight. I wasn't. I didn't have a large amount like I always do, but I had a little pouch. I had my bowl, which I don't remember what it looked like now because fucking 9 years ago. But I remember being there and just leaving my I should have fucking known because I was in a hood rat fucking area, but left my shit near my bag and my bowl's gone. Like the whole pouch is gone. Like it was a little pouch. Somebody fucking stole my pipe, and I think there was like some cash I had stashed in there. Like I had put a 20 in there just for backup money or whatever. And I even said I don't fucking care about the money or the weed. Just give me the goddamn pouch and my bowl. That's all I care about. Nobody would speak up. And that's my first encounter with Amsterdam. I got robbed in Amsterdam and I went back. You know what I mean? Like I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna go there, but I'm gonna I even told my buddy, my buddy at the time, I told Scott, I'm leaving my shit in your car. I'm emptying out my fucking pocket. I'm leaving whatever's important in the fucking car. I'll just have my gear bag, and that's just the shit that's where I got started with leaving gear separate from civilian clothes and stuff like that. So I learned real early. But the first match I had there was with CJ Scott. We ended the match with a tombstone pile driver through an open folded chair. He was standing up there, fucking just pile drove me through it. End of the match. Blew fucking Amsterdam away. It was just real funny because, you got all these kids that think they're fucking really doing it up, It's Martell, so, it's his boys. He thinks they're fucking blowing it away, Laddie Slam, woo! But then you see me, 2 out-of-towners, that's why I think it's so funny when people bitch about traveling to shows and having to work the same people that they wrestle in their own feds. Now, you can take this moment to bitch about your booking, or you can take this moment to wrestle somebody that you absolutely know and you can just blow people out of the fucking water. And half the time, people don't do it. And that's why they keep getting booked against people from their own feds, because they're just phoning it in. Instead, you just gave up. You're not even fucking trying. That's why I don't try to shit on the bookings I'm given. I'm going to try, because this is a hobby. Mm-hmm. I'm not why am I not getting this? Because I do love this bullshit. But at the same time, when it's just stupid, when I don't get it, I need to learn to be no. Because you do have a choice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Bad example, but say if you didn't want to wrestle a Chad, you can just be no. And then just mush somebody away from you. But, nobody would say that. But you know what I mean. Just para exemplar. So I want to say anything hurtful right now.
Yeah, maybe still young.
Depends on I'm drunk again. So that was my first impression of Amsterdam. We didn't go back for, I think, a good 6 months or something like that. And then my first WCW match, quote unquote, I believe was me versus Manic and Jake Adams. Yeah. Yeah, it's what that deserves. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't the greatest. I remember me and Manic's interactions being really good. I think it was mostly me and Jake just beating up on Manic. Big fucking surprise there. Maybe me and Jake did a couple of things, but you know how the whole I think I'm the only guy who yells out all my moves? Watch some Jake Adams footage. You'll see a lot of calling out, Mutato, Bum, Lariato. We know what's happening when you do this. You don't need to yell out for a lariat.
I don't yell for a lariat. I yell for a Dragon's Gate. There's a difference.
Got a point.
That's for a fan.
Yeah, you don't
it's
throw
not for
hard
your
enough.
opponent to know what's coming.
That's for a heel to piss people off before
You
I
don't
do
throw it
something.
hard enough for it to be a lariat, because I'm sorry, but there is a difference between a clothesline and a lariat.
Oh yes, there
Flat
is.
out.
There you go.
I throw lariats. Most other people throw clotheslines. If you notice if it's softer, I rush through a clothesline.
Bro, we're gonna have to talk about your lariats, especially one against one Ryan Rebel.
Was it Rebel? No, Stuffer.
Was it Stuffer or Rebel?
Yeah, you mean this year?
No, I'm talking about what was it, NYE a couple years ago.
No, Scotty's skills.
Scotty's
That's fucking drunk.
Well, we'll wait. For
Yeah,
that
oh, yeah.
later.
And then while he comes out,
We'll try to go chronologically here.
Please do.
Alright, so Amsterdam, Manic. Alright, so
On a roll.
Still on track.
What's that?
Still on track.
Oh man, I haven't derailed this yet. But yeah.
Keep your train of thought, please.
Well, this is all gonna be edited out.
Can we please
Maybe. Conduct yourself, Murph.
That was just getting bad.
It was never good.
In the first place.
No, the victim. No.
Now this has to be edited out.
Dude, you are not choosing
soon.
the right spot.
Oh my god, we're really off the tracks now. But
Derailed.
We're reached.
going off the rails on the crazy train.
Oh man.
And my favorite part has been, I'm just gonna say this real quick, Warren's going to 3BW. Think about that for a moment.
To do the choo-choo.
Oh. No. I know he's gonna do it.
Timing.
Ever. Warren's never gonna be faced. Warren's never gonna be faced.
When was he
Never
facing?
He attempts to. Never, but he attempts to.
Never happens.
You sure you don't want to go
Actually,
for
it's not true. He pulled off being faced once against Zeke at New Era last year. It was the one time he effectively pulled off being faced.
In our honest opinion, yes, but nobody likes Warren, so it didn't work out that well. Yeah, but he is a shithead at times. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, but like at PKM, I was actually pretty happy to hang out with him. You know, I did want to punch him in the head a couple times, but like I had already gotten booze, I had already booked the I went and reserved the hotel room, and he goes, "Look at this done. We have a perfect agent right here." I'm like, "I'll fucking punch you in your goddamn mouth." Like, you wrestled as Kim Chi once, and you're like all of a sudden like the super most over person in wrestling. Like, I mean, I understand, like, that's awesome. And Joe McFoley, that's great. But get your stupid fucking retarded chili, like, just...
I know you're the host, but I'm going to say this now. We've got the whole, you and Warren as a tag team for you to get all this heat out later.
Yeah.
So...
I know. That, like, it's just... Him calling me his agent, I'm like...
I'm just saying, don't use up all the heat now. Let it out when the time
Can you really run out of heat for Warren? Come on.
Oh.
I teamed with him. We're good. But, anyways, so when I was going to WCW, I was actually getting booked in a shitload of multi-man matches.
Oh boy.
Oh, surprise here. Alright, one of my favorite memories from beginning after my mannequin, Jake Adams, I wrestled a very young and very green TJ Edick. Now, mind you what I'm saying there. A very green TJ Edick. That means that all he did was change his gimmick to DJ Cena and he just stayed green. But...
Yo, man,
Hey,
TJ
golden
was a
brown
shit,
at
yo.
NYE. I can't believe he bronzed himself. Anyway, sorry.
that was actually pretty funny.
It was.
But the best thing he's ever done. The only good thing he's ever...
Turned orange.
No, I can't say that. He's actually a good guy. When he was on food stamps, he actually bought other people's shit because, like, I bought him stuff throughout times. He's actually bought me food. I'm like,
Wow.
cool. I'm like, I feel a little weird about using food stamps to do this, but whatever. But then again, I found out the situation. I'm like, oh, it's not so bad. Whatever. Because he was living at home with his parents. He just got approved for it, so he's just,
Oh yeah.
you know. But okay, so what happened was the day I wrestled Manic and Jake Adams, CJ Scott tried to have a classic barn burner of a match with TJ Edick. This is a 7 to 8 minute botch fest. And I mean, it was just a botch fest because he's calling out moves. Like, he was trying to call audibles with a guy who had no fucking clue what an audible... Not only did he not know what an audible was, but he couldn't spell audible if you asked him to. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't even be close. He wouldn't even be like AUTOBLE, like... like, it'd just be... It's like, just give him... that whole circle and star thing. And don't worry, he's never gonna get it. Just let him be. But like, so I watched how shitty this match was, and then the next time we went there, I was booked against him. I'm like, I just looked at Martel, I'm like, I got you, bro. And he's like, what? I'm like, is it okay if I bury this dude? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, you think I care? I'm like, all right, or we're gonna have like a 3-4 minute match. Fucking squashed the shit out of TJ Iddick, and it was the best match he'd ever had.
Wow. Squash match.
To that time, yeah. Because I made sure he sold my shit. I was not fucking around, and like, I mean, I've always been mean with chops, so it was just like, done. And Scott came up to me pissed after that. He's like, I wish I did that with my fucking match with him. I wish it. I'm like, sometimes you gotta call him like you see him, because that's the mistake that some people make. It's like, yeah, go ahead, don't book me in your big shit when I'm first showing up to your shows, because I'm watching these dudes. I see how they wrestle. So when you finally get me to wrestle these guys, I know their styles already. That's why I'm annoyed that I'm just like, oh, I'm not necessarily getting that. And I understand some people back down, and some people are just too big. Work one show a year. Whoop-de-doo, I don't give a fuck. I'll still go out there and get my fucking heat like I do every goddamn time. You know? It's like fucking Danny. Danny's great about doing that. Like, it doesn't matter how bad he's booked, because he's still gonna get his fucking heat. Like, he was disappointed that he couldn't get over for that spot where he fucking head spiked the tornado DDT into the guillotine, which was perfect.
Yeah, he did.
Huh? No, I know, but he wanted, I think he wanted something better out of it. Like, I think he wanted to do like some kind of flip bump out of it. I'm like, no, the way you did that was fantastic.
It was pure death.
Yeah, he was just stalled upside down, and then he was in the guillotine. It's like, well, fuck you. I was like, Jesus Christ. And it made sense. Anyways, but, you know, just grab your heat, fucking go with it. So, you know, I knew at this point in juncture, squash match, fuck. But I was booked in a lot of multi-mans, so I started a gimmick that whenever somebody mentioned a scramble match, I would lose my shit and start listing things off at Denny's menu, because they had a thing called the scramble. And I was constantly putting multi-man scrambles. So I was doing a crazy, because what it was, I can't remember who it was, but I took a couple of nasty chair shots, and that was supposed to be the thing that like kind of knocked me fucking silly. And I was just like, oh, Black Forest ham, bacon, cheddar cheese. I don't need any more scramble. But I kept going in these scrambles and winning. And then eventually I won the I don't like wrestling hardcore all too often, which you wouldn't be able to tell from a day like today. But, which, actually, if you think about it, no, you could tell, because I didn't fucking sell anything that was huge, but... Actually, no, I think him hitting me off the top of the ladder was a bit rough. I did back bump almost off, like I almost fall off
the pig
off the
table.
table.
Yeah.
We heard it snap, we were like, oh god, is he okay?
Yeah, I heard the crack, I'm like,
Yeah, I didn't expect you to fully bump it. I thought you were gonna get off and then run at me.
what do you think?
I didn't
I'm gonna do
expect
one of
a
these?
bump.
Okay, I'm coming back at you.
Yep.
No, I'm gonna bump it, asshole. That's what you do.
That's what I do.
It's what I do. That's why it worked out so. Oh, wait a minute. You mean if you put me in a match with people who bump, I'll have a good match?
No way.
Not possible.
Did you know? I'll save that for later. There was another,
Yeah, Murph. We'll save
there was
it for
another
later.
Warren thing. But,
I feel like Warren should have his own topic.
well, no, there's going to be, because we'll get into recent memory and I was
Part 3 of Russ. Russ shoots on the board for 40 minutes.
Warren Fest.
Oh, we're gonna have to stop right there, folks. But you can tell we have so much more to go through. It is gonna be so much fun. You are going to fucking love it. Just like I love it. Just like when I edit this stuff, it is so much fun to relive this night. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have to let you go with our sounds of backyard wrestling. For those who actually know what this is actually from a match between the pen name defending the GBYWN United States title against Domi back in 2010. If you know what it is, you're going to love it. If not, you're not going to be too sure on what it's about. But essentially, the pen name does a kick to Domi's face, and Phoenix, of all people, back then known as Falkland, decides to give his 2 cents and what you hear is what you get at that point. But either way, till next time, I am Rad Hazard, and we'll see you, or you'll hear me, whichever you want. But it'll happen here on the Global Backyard Wrestling Nation podcast.
In the morning.